Anthony Geary's death did not arrive with closure. It arrived with questions, pauses, and a silence that continues to deepen the suspense surrounding his final chapter. When the news first broke, attention shifted almost immediately from celebrating his legacy to something far more uncertain. How exactly did he die? How would he be honored? And why, even as tributes spread across the entertainment world, does his farewell remain unresolved? Anthony Geary, the actor who permanently altered the course of daytime television through his portrayal of Luke Spencer on General Hospital, died on December 14, 2025. He was 78 years old. According to confirmed reports, the cause of death was complications following surgery. His husband, Claudio Gama, verified the news. That confirmation answered one question, but it opened many others. The announcement stunned fans and colleagues alike, not only because of who Giri was, but because of how abruptly the story ended. There were no public warnings, no prolonged illness disclosed, and no final interviews suggesting decline. One day, he was a retired legend living quietly away from the industry. The next, his name returned to headlines worldwide, this time attached to the word death. For a man who spent much of his life resisting public exposure, the sudden return of attention felt jarring and deeply ironic. What is known about Anthony Geary's cause of death is limited and precise. Official reports state that he died due to complications following surgery. Beyond that, no medical specifics have been released. The nature of the procedure, whether it was planned or urgent, and the sequence of events that followed have not been publicly explained. Those closest to Giri have chosen not to elaborate, reinforcing a pattern of privacy that defined both his personal life and his departure from public view. There has been no indication of foul play or unusual circumstances, yet the absence of detail has fueled speculation among fans who felt connected to him for decades. This restraint aligns with the way Giri lived. Even at the height of his fame, he resisted the idea that celebrity required transparency. He believed his work belonged to the public, but his life did not. That philosophy now appears to extend to his death. The public has been given confirmation, not explanation, and that distinction has only intensified curiosity about his final days. Almost immediately after the cause of death became known, attention turned to the next inevitable question. When would the funeral take place? How would a man of such enormous influence be remembered? Would there be a public memorial, a formal tribute, a gathering of colleagues and fans? Days passed, then weeks, and still no announcement emerged. As of now, there has been no official statement confirming a funeral date, memorial service, or public tribute. No details have been released regarding whether a private ceremony has already taken place, or if one is planned. This silence has become one of the most discussed aspects of Anthony Geary's passing. For an actor whose work defined an era of daytime television, the lack of a formal farewell feels unusual. Yet for those who understood Giri beyond his on-screen persona, it feels consistent. He was never comfortable with spectacle. He rejected idolization and avoided ceremonial gestures unless they served a purpose. Many believe that this quiet handling of his funeral arrangements may reflect his own wishes, though no confirmation has been provided. Anthony Geary's complicated relationship with fame shaped every phase of his career. While millions recognized his face, he never fully embraced the identity imposed upon him. He spoke openly about how uncomfortable public adoration made him, and how being reduced to a heartthrob unsettled him more than obscurity ever could. This internal conflict followed him throughout his professional life and influenced his decision to step away from the spotlight. His impact on television, however, is undeniable. When Giri first appeared on General Hospital in 1978, Luke Spencer was never meant to last. The character was written as morally flawed, confrontational, and temporary. Instead, Giri's performance transformed Luke into something far more complex. Viewers responded intensely. Writers adjusted storylines. Luke stayed. What began as a short-term role became one of the most influential characters in daytime television history. The turning point came with Laura Collins, portrayed by Jeannie Francis. Their on-screen partnership ignited a phenomenon that extended far beyond soap operas. viewers who had never followed daytime television tuned in. Conversations moved into mainstream media. Their 1981 wedding episode drew an estimated 30 million viewers, making it the most-watched episode in soap opera history. From that moment on, Anthony Geary became inseparable from the cultural identity of daytime television. Recognition followed quickly. Giri won 8 Daytime Emmy Awards for Outstanding Lead Actor, a record that still stands. Critics praised his unpredictability, emotional depth, and refusal to deliver safe performances. Industry leaders credited him with raising the artistic standards of the genre. Yet, even as accolades accumulated, Giri remained restless. He rejected scripts that repeated familiar formulas. He refused to play Luke Spencer as a static hero. He challenged writers and producers to take risks. In 1991, he surprised audiences by returning to General Hospital in a second role as Bill Eckert, Luke Spencer's cousin. Eckert was darker and more volatile, and for a time, Giri portrayed both characters simultaneously. The move forced viewers to confront 2 opposing identities played by the same man and reflected his desire to disrupt expectations rather than satisfy them. Beyond General Hospital, Giri's career was extensive. He appeared in more than 40 television series including All in the Family, Starsky and Hutch, The Streets of San Francisco, Mannix, The Mod Squad, Marcus Welby, MD, The $6 Million Man, Hotel, and Murder, she wrote. He also appeared in television films and earlier daytime dramas such as Bright Promise and The Young and the Restless. Long before television fame, he was deeply rooted in theater, performing in more than 50 stage productions and taking on demanding classical and musical roles. Despite this breadth, Giri avoided publicity whenever possible. As his career progressed, withdrawal became more pronounced. In 2015, he retired from full-time acting. The decision was abrupt but deliberate. He did not stage a prolonged farewell or signal a possible return. He left quietly and relocated to Europe, gradually removing himself from public life. In 2020, he married his longtime partner, Claudio Gama, formalizing a relationship that had existed privately for years. When news of his death emerged, it arrived without warning. There were no final statements, no public reflections, and no sense of preparation. Tributes followed swiftly. General Hospital producers described him as irreplaceable. Fellow actors praised his intelligence, discipline, and uncompromising standards. Fans revisited iconic scenes and shared memories of how his performances became part of their daily lives. Yet even as tributes continue, the absence of a formal farewell remains unresolved. There has been no official funeral announcement, no confirmed memorial service, no timeline. For a figure of Giri's stature, this silence is striking and deeply compelling. Some believe it reflects his wish for privacy, even in death. Others suggest arrangements are being handled quietly by family. Industry insiders have declined to speculate. Anthony Geary's legacy does not depend on ceremony. His influence is already secured in television history. Luke Spencer remains one of the most recognizable characters ever created for daytime television. His work continues to be remembered, studied, and replayed. Still, the lack of closure matters because it mirrors the way he lived. Anthony Geary shaped narratives while refusing to explain himself. He achieved extraordinary success while resisting the identity that success demanded. He walked away when staying would have been easier. Even now, he leaves the world waiting. The cause of death is known. The tributes continue. But as of this moment, there is still no official announcement regarding Anthony Geary's funeral or memorial service. His final chapter remains unfinished,